all of the roommates that are in their room. It will also have contact information for them. It will also have a link to a lot of information on our website. So there's already great information up there. We're going to continue to add information. We also encourage all of our students to join us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everything that we have, because we actually add things every single day. And when the first year placements go out, a lot of information will start to appear on there. They're going to get all that information tonight, and we're going to ask them to start liking us. It will also have a list of things to bring and not to bring. Please check that list before you come. It's important. Okay, we have reached the question point. So I'm going to invite Chuck and Ryan to come back up, and we are going to take questions that people may have. I do want to highlight one piece, and that is about Messina housing. And so if there are specific questions about Messina housing, I'm happy to answer them afterwards, or also I have two colleagues here from the Messina program. All students that had applied for Messina did get information via their Loyola email about that program, and if they're living in the halls, that's why I didn't touch too much on Flannery O'Connor, because that's the building where our Messina program is. So if you've got questions, please feel free to come up after, or if you think that the group also needs to hear that question, please feel free to ask. Who's got a question? Somebody does. Yes, ma'am.
We do actually have computer labs that are available 24/7 on campus, so there is somewhere for them to print. Each student is assigned 500 pages per semester, so they'll get 1,000 pages over the year. If they need to print more than that, which is rare nowadays because a lot of stuff's moving to electronics and emailing papers in, they can add more to that via their Evergreen card. They don't need to. However, if they like to print a lot of pictures or personal things, there's no color printers really that students have access to. So if they're interested in printing in color, they might want to bring one. Essentially, they may want to talk to your roommate. There is limited desk space kind of in the dorms, and you probably don't need two printers in the same room. Somebody can bring that, somebody else brings the TV, or work something out that way. Also, because we do have 24/7 hour labs and printers, if a student is working on a paper and tells their teacher they couldn't finish it because their computer crashed, the teacher's going to say, it's computer labs. So teachers are expected to have work done on time. It's not an excuse for them.
Are there printers available in dorms?
Pretty much every building has a computer lab assigned to it. So there's one in Butler and Hammerman share one. There is one in Flannery, there's one in Hopkins, each one basically, and then there's general labs also on the main campus in the actual dorm buildings as well.
If your child has a laptop, then you can
As far as I'm aware, no classes are requiring students to have iPads or tablets of any sort. And I know Ryan mentioned some books may start going to iPad.
Maybe. No, it's down the road though.
Yeah, that's going to be down the road. And yeah, they don't need it. But if they already have one, or they're really interested in one, they can get it. I can tell you some professors will not allow electronics in classes, so especially like language classes, they don't want people clicking away on a keyboard, so some professors may prevent them from bringing them in.
On that point, I do know a couple of professors who have asked me to actually eliminate ebooks from options for their classes because they don't want people using computers in their classrooms. So just be aware, there are some professors who will say no electronics at all allowed.
If a book is not available on ebook, you buy it new or you buy it used, can you sell it back to the bookstore at the end of the class?
Buyback, yes. No, that's a good question. Everyone always asks about buyback and how we can do this. Well, okay, with renting books, you can't sell it back. You get the deal up front, you just bring it back to us, that's it. Because you save 50% on the beginning of the semester. If you buy a book, if you buy a used book, you buy a new book, you have the option of selling the book back in the semester. Somewhere around like the beginning, about a month or two into the semester, I started asking professors for the next semester worth of courses, so I can know, can I buy a book back? Do I need to get a new edition? Do I need to get a new version of the book? If it's the same book being used, let's say it's a fall semester book being used in spring, I will set up a quantity of how many I can buy back. All right, that quantity we offer 50% back at a selling price. Once they hit that quantity, it's whatever a wholesaler will buy for us. If they hit max out, it goes to nothing, and I can't buy it back anymore. So there's an option to sell a book back regardless, even if you bought it somewhere else. You can buy a book on Amazon, on eBay, buy it from like somewhere else, even from another bookstore, and bring it back here, we'll still try and buy it back from you. This is buy it from the students.
You mentioned Amazon and eBay. Do you recommend like shopping?
Okay, so this is a good question actually, and our client, Jen Wood, actually did this research on her own, because her husband was an undergrad student and was an undergrad work here at this campus. She actually took all of these courses and compared everything from our prices to eBay to Amazon to Chat. She found out that our new prices were pretty much comparable, maybe a little bit higher because we can't buy in bulk and sell this huge discounts in some cases.
Your new price.
Our new prices. It could be because it's based upon what the publisher tells us, and we have to kind of basically work off that price. Sometimes like bigger stores can like drop it down a little bit because they buy in huge bulk and they can afford to drop the price because they can make it up in other sales. Used books are pretty much comparable across the board unless you're buying from a marketplace. Like an individual person wants to sell a book for $5. I can't beat that, so I'm sorry. But everywhere else though, used book price is the same. As for rentals, our prices are better than most places. And because we can also allow you to write your book too, is even a better deal because you can still use the book as well as save you money. So you can shop around, I'm not saying you can't, because you can find good deals, you might be able to find people. But I have heard horror stories of people who bought a book on Amazon, waited 3 weeks, never showed up. Then they come to my store and buy in the bookstore and buy it real quick before they do the test that day. Or they'll buy the book and it's a completely wrong edition or a completely wrong version. And it's like they're coming back to me, buy the book before they have the homework assignment due. So definitely shop around. I'm not saying you can't, but because that's the best way to see that our prices are not actually as high as people think they are. We actually do have good competitive prices on this.
For the suites, do you have a lot of freshmen getting into suites? And if they do get into a suite, kitchenware, all that stuff is on their responsibility to bring?
Good question. So we, the number of beds that we have on campus includes the suites. So there will be first year students living in suites. Last year we actually had a lot of first year students that wanted to live in suites. What I always talk about with students that are kind of on the fence, do I want to be in a double, do I want to be in a suite or an apartment? The first question I always ask is, okay, well, how many people are you going to be okay living with? If the thought of living with one other person is going to be a stretch, the thought of living with 5 other people in a 6-person room, probably not ideal. However, it's important to know that all of the housing after this, so housing that traditionally sophomores, juniors, or seniors may live in is all suite or apartment style. There is no option for doubles after your first year. And so I would say that if someone is in a suite or apartment, it's a good idea to definitely talk with the other roommates. They do not need 4 or 6 sets of pans. They don't. They also do not need top of the line pans, truly, especially if this is their first time cooking. Even a top of the line pan will burn, and that is very sad. And so it is going to be important. They also don't, everybody doesn't need to bring their own set of plates and that stuff. There is a good amount of storage in the kitchen, so there are cabinets and things. What is provided in the kitchen is a sink, a refrigerator, and a stove. Microwaves are not provided. For those that are living in doubles in the fall, we strongly encourage folks to do what's called the microfridge program. They will be at the open house tomorrow, and what that is you can rent a microfridge for the year. And so it's a great deal. They will have the microfridges there tomorrow so that you can look at them. Best part is that they deliver them to the actual room, so you don't have to haul it up 5 flights of stairs. Tell me, it's amazing. And then also after that, they will not need a refrigerator because they'll have a full-size refrigerator in all of their apartments. So it's kind of a waste if you're just going to buy a mini fridge for a year. Good question. Others? Yes.
I'm sorry, maybe I just haven't informed myself very well about this, but speaking of the apartments and the suites, now obviously if they're an apartment, they're gonna need a completely different food plan than if they're in a double. So when do all of those decisions get made or have to be made?
Okay, so it's important to note that this year is the first year that that all students are required to have a meal plan, and so first year students are required to have a minimum meal plan. And so what will happen?
And that's regardless of where they're living.
regardless of where they're living. And all of the meal plans are based off of what the amount of dollars basically that students have spent on meals. And so it's based off of that. Now, what they can do is they can do it in a number of different ways. I am not an expert in this. This is not my division, but I can try and answer questions as best I can. Basically what it's made up of is it's made up of either meals, so you swipe and you get this, or it's made up of declining balances. So basically you swipe and for 75 cents you get a banana. That's the difference. And so all of this information is online. If you go to loyola.edu/dining, it will have all of the meal plans broken out, and it goes through what each piece is. There will be a grace period in the beginning of school. I believe it's the first 2 weeks of school that students can decide to buy up. Students can't decide to buy down though. You can't say, whoa, I got way too much food and I would like some money back. Once you've selected that meal plan, you're locked in unless you'd like to buy more.
When do they choose that?
Good question. I don't think it is while you're here.
Because that was my question, do you choose that before you find out?
Isn't there a
what
session
happens?
about
We can find out about that tomorrow.
Tomorrow you will find out. Right here. Well done, thank you. Look at this. Growing already. Yes. Yes, we want them to do it. It is not in their apartments, unfortunately. The only area on campus that has laundry in the apartments is over in Ronner Village, and that's typically seniors are living over there. It is downstairs. We have a lot of washers and dryers within each hall. Plenty. Do not let your kids be like, oh, there's so many people doing laundry, I can never do it. Lies. They have plenty of time. Also, what's really cool, and you can even catch them up in this slide, get this. You can log on to onto Loyola, and you can actually go in, and it will tell you how many washers and dryers are available by building. It will also tell you when the wash cycle is done. I did not have this in college. I had to sit on top of the washer waiting for it to finish. And so they can actually literally, it's called ESUDS, and they can do that. Also, all of laundry is on our swipe system, so no longer do you have to send quarters. Great question. Others? Other questions? Yeah?
I noticed that it said on move-in day there are going to be designated times to move in. How is
Yes.
that going to work? Are you giving the hour, an hour to get your stuff out?
Sure. So move-in is what I like to call organized chaos. So it is amazing. I came up with the process, so of course I think it's amazing, just kidding. But no, it really is extremely organized. So what will happen is when they get their housing assignment, they will also get a block, and it tells you when you're going to move in. Now, obviously this is going out to all students, so if they're participating in a pre-orientation program, they're going to need to review the information coming from the pre-orientation program because it's going to be different dates. Obviously, pre-orientation is moving in early, so they're not going to have to follow the designated move-in guidelines. However, for people that aren't participating in a pre-orientation program, those move-in times, it's 8 a.m. to noon is basically it. And so what it does is it does go by hour. And what we ask is that that's the hour in which you can arrive. You can certainly stay as long as you want up until the end of the day, and then we ask that you leave and go home and leave us, your wonderful children, because they're going to be busy and tired. So when you get on campus though, you will get a parking pass basically that's put in. We do ask that you unload your vehicle and then move the vehicle. And the reason for that is because we do have limited parking, and the organized part of this is in order to keep everything organized, we have to keep people moving. So there are move-in carts that are available. I do encourage folks, if you have a hand truck sitting at the back someplace and you want to bring that, always a good plan. We also generally have athletes that are here early, as well as our ROTC program that helps students move in, and so take heavy boxes, run them up the stairs, as well as our evergreens. So there's a lot of help in doing that. Great question. Yes, ma'am.
The regular orientation.
Yes, so pre-orientation tends to be specialized, so there's actually a session on that. Pre-fall, yeah, okay. So, and I think it's in the next session block as well, and there's more information about that, and then there's the regular orientation. Yes, we'll go back here and then I'll come to you.
Speaking of student athletes, if their housing has kind of already been figured out for them, do they still need to fill
Yes.
that out tomorrow?
Yes, I every year coaches. Yes, it has been figured out in that the coach has said, this is who I want you to live with. It has not been, nothing has been officially done, because they have to come in and they have to fill out all of my information, and then that's how they get placed. So yes, they still have to come and see me tomorrow.
References have been made to an alcohol education program that they have to go through before they can even move in on
Yes.
Monday. What exactly is that? Where do they access it? What's required of them?
Sure, they're going to get information about that from our ADES office, and basically what it is it's a learning program online where students will go in, they'll watch some information, and basically then they will do some responses back. What that is to make sure that all of our students are coming in with a base knowledge around alcohol and their own habits, and so they do have to do that before they move in. We're not kidding about that. It was a really sad day when I had to tell a parent that their student had to sit and take this, because it does take a little while, and they couldn't move their kids in. So we're not kidding about that. They will be receiving it, I believe, after orientations are all complete, or right when they're getting their housing assignment. So plenty of time to do it. Other questions?
You spoke about Messina, and if a student has applied for that, will they find out at the same time as the other students where they're being located, or if they accepted?
So students would have already gotten confirmation if they are accepted into the program via email. And if you have a specific question about if they are, Mike Puma right over here and Mary Ellen Wade would be able to help you specifically on that. But all students will get their housing assignments. It all sends out at the same time. Now, if something happens, this is what happens every year. They will get it. The system takes 8 to 12 hours to send out emails because it's a lot of data. So just, it's okay if someone got it and someone has not gotten it, it's probably just because the system is still sending out emails. That's why I try to send it out at night so that people can't call. They still do in a panic. It's 4 o'clock in the morning, I haven't got my house, it's not me yet. Don't worry, you're gonna get it. Yes, ma'am.
Just a quick follow-up to that.
Sure.
If the child applied for Messina, but to this my knowledge, haven't heard anything, did they incur a no and yes or only a yes?
They get here today. At 4:15, they know to come down and find information about Messina. So we can talk afterwards. So I have a list here.
Okay.
Others? Yes, ma'am.
Just the bedding thing, I've heard from people that those sheets are scratchy.
I'm sorry, the what?
The bedding package?
Yes? You've heard that they're scratchy? I'll be honest, I've never laid in any students' beds to find out if they're scratchy. So I don't know. I have not received any feedback, but our office actually sells them. I have not heard like an overwhelming, these sheets are terrible. I would say if generally your student is particular about the softness of their sheets, I would say don't worry, go to someplace and get them a set. Or 2, because then they can wash one, have one on their beds. Good plan, right? Others? Anything? Excellent. If you have a question that you didn't want to ask during the session, we'll be around to answer that. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you in the fall.
Okay.